Truth Social, Donald Trump has deemed Antifa a terrorist organization. He has Truth. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, this is exactly what needed to happen. Dude, we have so many options now that Antifa's been declared a terrorist organization. This opens up a war chest of options to really go at the throat here.
What are you talking about? It's a decentralized group. They don't even have a leader.
You know my favorite thing was that famous clip where Trump is debating Biden. And he says, Antifa. And then Biden goes, Antifa's an idea. The real threat's white supremacy. White supremacy's an idea too, you moron. Antifa is an international association. They fly a banner.
They have chapters.
Right. They have cells.
With merch. You can't say you're not a group and have merch. Those are mutually exclusive ideas.
Like bumper stickers.
Yeah.
So let's try and let's clarify as much as we can. There are Antifa cells. They fly the banner. They have a shared flag. But these groups are specific. So they'll call themselves like Insert City Antifa or something banner Antifa. And the generic term Antifa refers to their ideology and loose-knit set of ideals and where they band together. But flying the flag is intended to make them a singular group, meaning if an Italian Antifa guy comes to the United States and has the patch, it is easily recognizable to someone in the United States. And if a riot breaks out, they know how to coordinate because they share tactics. So if you can't designate that an international terrorist organization, literally what can you? Yeah. Are we going to pretend that it's not really ISIS because the guy only pledged to ISIS and was practicing what they preached in their tactics, but he never actually went to Syria to meet with them? No, he's flying their banner. It is a group. And there are cells all over the world. So some have argued you can't create domestic terror organizations. And that is my understanding is true. Some have said I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter. Antifa's international. They are a foreign terror organization with U.S. cells and chapters. Mm-hmm. And it's about time these people face the consequences of their actions, because for a better part of a decade, longer than that, because I've been experiencing it since the Occupy protests, they use similar tactics. They have a similar ideology. They get funded. Where the money comes from is, I'm curious, and they engage in violence to suppress people's rights and shut down free speech. You may not like the Proud Boys, you may not like Patriot Prayer, but a bunch of right-wingers with American flags walking down the street never bothered anybody. You want to get mad about rioters with American flags, by all means, but patriotic Americans walking down the street with American flags is totally legal and protected, and the far left throwing bricks, throwing firebombs, that was always illegal. And it's time for games to stop.
This is exactly what I've been calling for when I say the federal government needs to do something about terrorism in the United States. Mm-hmm. Antifa are a terrorist organization. They have always been a terrorist organization. They are a revolutionary communist group, usually communist. Sometimes there'll be some anarchist, like anarcho-communists in there, but they're still communists at their core. And that, honestly, the distinction about anarcho-communists versus regular communists, it's a distinction without a difference, because they end up being communists at the end of the day. Well, they don't want no government. They want a government that tells everybody to be the type of communist that they are.
I actually really, really love this political compass distinction. It's important for everybody. Libertarian communists do exist. It's a real thing. There's like 3 of them, and they live on a farm. And you've never heard of them, and you'll never see them. Why? Because all they do is live on a farm, and this is what a libertarian communist does. They walk up to their room and go, "Hey, my watermelons are ripe. Do you want to share some?" "Sure, man." And then afterwards, we'll do the dishes together. And they don't bother anybody, and nobody cares. In fact, there are some small communes in the United States where they have like 20 to 100 members, and they don't bother anybody because they mind their own business. And they have little hippy-dippy farms.
It breaks down after about 100 people.
It does. Yeah. It literally does.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the most well-known libertarian commune has only 100 people, and they won't allow any more.
Really?
Yeah, and only when someone leaves does the wait list open up for the next person to come in.
There's like I've heard that like once you get past 100 members of anything like that, it starts to break down.
And so what you actually end up with in these cities are people claiming they're libertarian socialists or libertarian or anarcho-communists, and then they firebomb a police car. And you're like, yeah, bro, let me just explain something. When you use threat of death to enforce your ideology, that's authoritarian, okay? Not anarcho. When the hippie goes on the farm and says, "Come hang out if you want," that's libertarian. And no one cares because nobody even knows these people exist. I go to conservatives and they're like, there's no such thing. I said, no, trust me. There's just like 3 of them. I've met them. They're chill. They're all right. They're smoking pot somewhere. I don't dig their lifestyle, but they leave me alone. The people in the streets with batons and clubs and firebombs, they were always the tankies.
Yeah, and so it's good that he's assigned them a terrorist organization.
Well, real quick, I imagine tomorrow it'll be an executive order of some sort.
Sure, I would assume so as well. I don't imagine that there will be international drone strikes, but or drone strikes in other countries or anything like that, but I do think that the FBI should start actually tracking down people that put up videos with that they're flying the Antifa flag. If they're making comments about anti-fascist, blah blah blah, the federal government should start knocking on their doors just because it chills behavior. It's not about wrapping up people for speech, but if they're involved with an actual terrorist organization, which Antifa is, and 2020 was evidence of that. They rioted all summer. They destroyed property.
Yes.
They were doing everything they could to intimidate people. They were literally getting in people's faces, demanding that people say, Black Lives Matter. Go and find those people and start asking them if they are involved in terrorist activities, if their plans, and you will see a significant drop in people that are actually going to say things like Charlie Kirk deserved it.
And then you can go to Berkeley and set up a little table and say, let's have a conversation, and no one will smash it and no one will throw rocks at you. And that is the crazy thing about this country today is I can already hear the liberals going, it's happening. Trump is saying that if you oppose fascism, you're a terrorist. And it's like, bro, I just watched a video. I think it was Cam Higbee, who was like saying, he's got like a sign up saying no one should die for their opinions. And a guy comes and attacks him. And I'm like, the problem isn't the guy minding his own business. Okay. You guys are criminals. You are fascists. And Trump is saying, stop doing that. But more importantly, I don't care if someone flies a banner of whatever they want to fly. Free speech. Seriously, I mean it. The question is, if people are saying they're aligned with this, I believe that's enough cause to investigate whether they're providing material support to violent terrorist groups. Now, if you want to say they shouldn't be called terrorists, literally, I don't care what your argument is. If they are engaging in violence against other people for the purpose of suppressing their speech or ability to engage in American democracy, then they are terrorists. And so could you imagine if someone went on, like, say, Piers Morgan and said, if you wanted your friend to live, you shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump?
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, imagine if something like that happened. Imagine if they, so I'm going to say this.
Oh,
I'm always what?
I just you mentioned that, and Destiny has never flown like Antifa flags, and I'm bummed that this isn't going to wrap them up. But anyways,
so we can't. So we had a security assessment today, and I actually do have a story from Variety about this. I gave them a big long quote. We did initially cancel the college event that I was going to be doing because I had actually reached out to Charlie some time ago, and I said, I'll paraphrase, but I was like, dude, this is awesome what you were doing. I'm a huge fan of this. I would love to do things like this. I saw what he was doing, how effective it was, and I was like, man, I wish I could be like Charlie and I could do this too. And he responded with, let's get to it. Let's make it work. So we're both busy guys. We're working out what we're doing with AmFest, whatever's going to go on. I'm not entirely sure yet. But I did organize with Alex Stein one of these events, and we canceled that. That was going to be on the 11th. We were going to Penn State. We are not anymore because our security team cannot secure it. And so we actually canceled the Culture War live events as well. I decided, no, these are indoors. Let's do it. Well, unfortunately, we had a security assessment, sat down with my security team once again, and they said, we cannot secure this event. It's up to you. And so then I talked to my wife. We discussed it, and we were like, right now, we can't do it. So I want to stress this. Why this is so important that Trump is taking action against these terrorists. I don't think it will stop the violence right now. I think maybe in the future we can stem the bleed, as it were, figuratively. Meaning it will only get worse if nothing is done, but at least for now we may pull out of this tailspin. Because of these people, they got the venue canceled on us the first time we did this because of threats of terror. And we pushed back and they brought our event back and only 3 people showed up to protest. Now because of the death threats, one crazy person, we can't secure the event. And so for at least the time being, we were told we we cannot provide meaningful security, which prevents a few problems. Everyone's going to respond with, Tim, be brave. Don't let them stop you. Tell that to the insurance company when the security assessors say we can't provide security, and the insurance company says we won't insure your event, and then the venue says without insurance, you can't have one. That's not happened just yet because we're voluntarily saying we're going to, this is what we've typically dealt with insurance for events, the things that you need in order to make them happen. And we just said, listen, it's not even just about that. I don't want to make it seem like an insurance company came to us and shut us down. I'm saying that's just a major component. We think being unable to secure it and a challenge to whether or not we're going to be able to afford the insurance means we should probably wait. And so I don't know exactly what's going to be happening with this. There's also the trip to Arizona, which I mentioned the other night, which I don't know exactly what's going to be happening, but I'm being told right now to buy a wig. I'm not kidding. Buy a wig, get a polo shirt and some cargo shorts and sunglasses if you want to go to Arizona. And I'm like, I don't know that I can live like this. Now I get it. Big celebrities, bigger than who am I? I'm some guy on the internet who complains. Brad Pitt walks down the street. He's got to deal with that stuff. I get it. But the issue right now is there is a series of death threats that we have forwarded, I believe, to the FBI. I'm pretty sure that's what our security team did, threatening to murder me and calling for others to murder me as well. This is why I look at this and I say, good. These people who go online and are telling me I can't speak. And you know what's funny? I'm to the left of Charlie. And they're telling even me I should be murdered. Something has to be done about this. I fear with this action from Trump, we will still face some degree of escalation. The left response immediately following this, because this happened 20 minutes ago, they're going to say, Trump just made it illegal to oppose fascism. That's what they will say. That's what they're going to say. I'll just say this. I have never faced any threats from groypers. They make memes about me. They make a meme where I've got the Jewish things coming down, the braids or whatever. I don't know what they're called. And what is it? Payas. And it's me saying the Goyim found out or something like that. I don't know. That's the worst thing they've done to me. Yeah. They've been like, you like Israel. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? That's it. The left sends me death threats all the time. All the time. We have these creepos. And so my family is stressed. I'm stressed. And we want it to be done with. And hopefully this pulls us out of the tailspin and puts a stop to a decade plus, maybe 15 years or more of extreme violence from far left, deranged lunatics who are given protection.
Yeah. The protection is the worst part, too, because for a long time, I think to the general public, people who don't follow politics very, very closely, when they think of domestic terrorism, they don't think of it as a left-wing concept. They think of it as almost entirely a right-wing idea, despite the fact that they can't really give you modern examples of what that actually looks like. But they don't know about the Black Bloc. They don't know about or even what you were talking about in the 70s or any of those types of events that have transpired. And there needs to be a change around understanding where that type of terroristic threat is coming from in this country.
And to talk about where it's coming from, this is particularly important, the labeling them as terrorist organizations, because that's not just how you go after the foot soldiers like the John Brown Gun Club or Antifa or Black Bloc. It's how you go after the second and third tier people who are backing this and making it continually happen and providing them with the resources where they can continue doing these illegal things with near impunity. I mean, to go back to the 70s, they got away with it because they had champagne socialists and people like that giving them the best lawyers, providing them with the best things. The city and state governments were often on their side, like Mayor Lindsay in New York City. Now that situation has more or less been repeated with these huge funds providing the lawyers, the media help, the personalities, everything it can do. This helps shut that down because now you can investigate those people and make sure they no longer have these huge amounts of resources to just break the law and go after us.
Well, and now, I mean, big beautiful bill, the DHS got an additional $165 billion, so they have some new toys I think that they're looking to implement here with this new terrorist organization. You're going to need a lot of resources to get to the bottom of this. This is a huge network in this country.
I got an idea for all the liberals and leftists and the far left out there. Get a little folding table from Walmart, buy a big piece of whiteboard and write on it, Donald Trump is a fascist, change my mind. Tape it to the table, sit down politely at university with a microphone and have peaceful conversations and win your argument. There's a really funny meme I saw earlier. Not meme, but a tweet. There is no Charlie Kirk analog on the left. There is no left, liberal, far left personality who has an open platform in public and says, come and challenge my ideas and I will prove myself right. Because all of them know they are wrong. And that's why they engage in violence. You do not shoot and kill a man who you've easily defeated in an argument. And I think it was George R.R. Martin in Game of Thrones said, when you tear out a man's tongue, you don't prove him wrong. You simply show the world you fear what he might say. So when they killed Charlie Kirk, what were they admitting? He's right. And we can't win.
Well, they say they're against fascism. Can any of them define fascism as like
You?
what they're
No one
against?
on earth can define fascism, like at all. Like they're just like, oh, it's my dad.
Mainstream evangelical.
No liberal can. You talk to most conservatives, and they'll give you the basic breakdowns of what fascism is.
Right.
There's a few different views. One is the lucrative merger of corporation and state.
That's the one I was always.
The corporation basically follows in lockstep what the state wants it to do, effectively creating a totalitarian system where it's not communism. The state isn't telling you where you have to work or what you have to do, but businesses only function for the purpose of the state. However, there's an easier way to describe it because these economic functions vary from country to country. It was totalitarian traditionalism. It was an authoritarian structure with a traditionalist bent. And communism was authoritarian or totalitarian progressivism. The communists wanted to erase all history and make you live in these equal little boxes. And the fascists were like, restore the natural order. So they were the two extreme ends of traditional or progressive. They call you a fascist because you hold some traditional values, which is psychotic. You can be a liberal and not a commie. You can be a conservative and not a fascist. That's just that simple. To them, literally every conservative is a fascist, and any I guess apostate of liberalism, even if you're not conservative, is still a fascist.
Yeah.
So they've lost the plot.
Tim gives that eloquent breakdown, going to the nitty-gritty of the ideologies, and then you ask a liberal, and they just describe like a Southern Baptist.
My dad.
Yeah.
My dad tells me I can't do things. That's fascism.
Yeah, literally.
That's why I don't like my dad. That's fascism. But the point that you made, Tate, earlier, going for the organizations that fund, the NGOs and going after them. Or was it you that made it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. But that's going to be the thing that really pays off, right? That's where you're going to really get the most bang for your buck, because it's easy to take care of the crazies on the streets that are going to throw bricks because they're crazies. Mm-hmm. They're going to look for a reason to get buck wild or whatever. If there's a riot, they're going to go out there. If they've got someone that eggs them on, then they'll do something. But they're kind of crazy. They're people that are, they're loose cannons. They're people that don't have a whole lot going on in their life. And so they go and they're like, I don't mind throwing a rock through the window because if I get put in jail, I don't care. I don't really have plans for my life.
But I made the point on the show, I think it was Friday, I was like, the only distinction between these mainstream pundits and the people that are throwing bricks through the window is the people that are throwing bricks through the window just have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like these pundits, they have the exact same ideology.
Yes.
They just have a little more skin in the game.
I don't think that the people that are throwing bricks really have a whole significant grasp on the ideology. They're the ones that are a little more on the anarcho side.
Sure.
And they have less they have a less coherent worldview than the organizers that use them.
Yeah,
They're
useful
bio-Leninists.
idiots.
They hate beauty because it exists.
Yeah.
They hate order because it exists.
We've got a little bit more news on the Jimmy Kimmel thing. Here's a really great sentence for you. When asked by The Hollywood Reporter, the source said that Kimmel was not planning on apologizing. He felt that what he said did not require an apology. That's why he got shut down.
So he lied and doesn't feel that his lie requires an apology.
Yep. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.